Moving to the country, I'm gonna eat a lot of peaches. I'm moving to the country, I'm gonna eat me a lot of peaches. I'm moving to the country, I'm gonna eat a lot of peaches. I'm moving to the country, I'm gonna eat a lot of peaches. Peaches come from a can, they were put there by a man in a factory downtown. And if I had my little way, I'd eat peaches every day, sun-soaking bulges in the shade. Moving to the country, I'm gonna eat a lot of peaches. Moving to the country, I'm gonna eat a lot of peaches. Moving to the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches. Moving to the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches. I took a little nap with the roots all twist, squished a rotten peach in my fist, and dreamed about you, woman. I poked my finger down inside, make a little room for an ant to hide. Nature's candy in my hand, or can, or pie. Millions of peaches, peaches for me.
Good morning, everyone. If you're here, let me know so I can do attendance. Let me know if you can hear me. We know how it sounds. Speaking of sounds, we do have a soundboard up today. Just the basics, nothing crazy, just some simple ones. But we'll see if we get a chance to. Good morning, Afton. Good morning. Take some Tendy. Okay. Let's see who's here. Afton's here. Macy's here. I want to mark all of you absent. I know it sounds more nefarious than it actually is. I want to mark all of you absent so then I can go through and mark the people present that are present. That. Alrighty. So I see Zach. Well, Zach's here early, but I see Afton here. Macy is here. Hi, Macy. Connor is here. Harley is here. Joe is here. Brennan is here. Chase is here. Grant is here. Who else am I missing? Macy, Connor, Joe, Carly, Macy, again, Brennan, Chase, and Grant. Okay, so the people I'm missing right now are Blaze, Jocelyn, Parker, Paul, and Geraldine Wilson. Grant, are you in any relation to Geraldine? I just noticed you guys have the same last name. And if you are, status report, please. And Afton's representing the Twitch crowd. We've got YouTube people up, so we're good. Okay, so you guys don't live together necessarily. Right, okay. That's fair. All right, well, when they check in, we'll be good to go. If anyone knows Paul or is a friend, you know, give him a text, make sure he's awake. It should be illegal to do math this early. We got Paul, Geraldine, Parker, and Jocelyn that we are not waiting on. Oh, and Blaze. Not necessarily waiting on them, but we will watch for them in chat as best as possible. Right. Okay, so today we don't have a whole lot going for us. Like, we don't have a whole lot to do. Nothing too crazy. Oh, what's up, Danny? What's up? All right, so today, what we're going to be doing is making sure everybody's good on Bulb, right? We did that yesterday and the day before. Everybody in chat, are we Gucci on Bulb? And if we are, then I want to go on to this one little problem and give you guys time to work around with Bulb and experiment with it, right? That's basically it. So if we're all Gucci on Bulb, we're all set up, then I'm going to get started with an example problem, another one that you could write about. We've done 2 so far. We've done the 7 + 7 = 2, right? And we've also done the 9, 16, 25, 43 problem, right? That's right. Your words, not mine. Just got the soundboard hooked up today, bud. It's bare bones, but it's there. So that's gonna be the plan. Drop my phone. Feels nice to teach you guys without a mask on. Anybody in chat still struggling with a Bulb? Also, I realized that you guys have seen that Vine where they pronounce all the things incorrectly, like free Shavakadu, right? If you pronounce it like that, Bulba Peepee, I think that will help you remember the name of the website, that it's not just bulb.com. Bulbous! We need to get that on the soundboard. So anyway, if nobody's having issues, I know, right? For real, I watched some Vines before. They're low quality, like the image quality. It's like decades ago, it feels like. And I miss Taylor. Shout out to Taylor Swanstrom, the only person who understands me when it comes to Vine references. All right, so if everybody's good on this, speak now or forever hold your peace. We'll move on to a problem. As you can tell, I'm a hardcore rocker. I got those band-aids there. Exactly. Just like that. Okay, so and you're like, oh God, it begins. No, you're fine. You're fine. As do I. So, y'all heard of PEMDAS, right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. That's how they tell you to go about solving a problem like Maria. Right? They're telling you that, look, do the parentheses first, do exponents next, right? It's the order of operations. And this is useful when you need to solve an expression or, when you need to mess around with an expression. What do I mean by an expression? Expression is something without an equal sign. And so if you have a bunch of numbers together, like this would be a simple expression. Let me grab another piece of paper. Sorry, I'm a little disorganized this morning. If you have something like this, like right, something like that. Order of operations will tell you what order you should do this in. So parentheses first, no parentheses. Exponents first, no exponents. Multiplication next. So we're supposed to do 6 times 9, right? And then division. So we're supposed to do 6 times 9, which is 54. And then we're supposed to divide by 11? Well, it turns out there's actually implied parentheses here. Whenever you see a big division bar like this, it tells you that you have to do this first and then divide. So you got to know a little bit. So we get 54 here, and then we're going to add 25. When we add 54 and 25, what we're going to get is 79. And then we divide that by 11. What's 79 divided by 11? Well, it doesn't divide evenly, so our answer is 79 over 11. Do not plug this into your calculator. You're going to get a repeating decimal, and then you're going to have to round. Here's why we don't plug it into a calculator. Not because I'm anti-calculator, which I am, but not because of that. Because if you plug this into a calculator, it will repeat out, right? It's going to give you a running digit that's going to go on forever, and eventually you're going to have to round. And if you rounded, that means you estimated. And if you're estimating, why use a calculator, right? This is the exact answer. It's 79 over 11, whatever that is, right? It doesn't take a calculator, and it's more accurate. If it's more accurate and doesn't take a calculator, that's the better answer. So we leave it alone. So PEMDAS can be useful, sort of, right? You got to know about the parentheses here. There's things like that, right? But the problem is that in order to solve a problem like Maria, this one right here, you have to do PEMDAS backwards. Sort of, kind of. So PEMDAS backwards, P-E-M-D-A-S. If we do it backwards, we're doing SADMEPS. Subtraction, addition, division, multiplication, exponent, and parentheses. And your teachers never really told you this, at least as far as I'm aware, right? That subtraction and addition you can do in either order, doesn't matter. Same thing with division and multiplication. Doesn't matter what order you do those in. So you can switch the D and the M and the S and the A, does not matter. But there's all kinds of exceptions to the rule as well, as we've seen even just briefly with this, right? That there's hidden parentheses here. I don't want you to think in terms of PEMDAS. I think it's too confusing. I think it also turns off your brain to just follow the letters, right? And sometimes you have to remember to do it forwards, and sometimes you have to remember to do it backwards. If you want to solve an equation, right, get U on its own, right, so to speak, right? And that's a U, by the way. I make a cursive U. If you want to get U on its own, you have to do the order of operations backwards. So we need to undo subtraction, which means we need to do addition, right? We need to move this over. All this BS, right? I don't want you to think about it like that. I want you to have some free minds here. I want you to do math in any order you want. If you know what you're doing, you don't have to follow the order of operations. You can think creatively. So here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We've been given a hard problem, right? Or at least somewhat hard, right? What we're gonna do is we're gonna make ourselves an easier one. So I think the scary part of this problem isn't the minus 32. Is everybody cool with minus 32? Are we cool with that? We're cool with minus 32? Like if I said take a number and subtract 32, that wouldn't be the scariest thing in the world. Maybe for some of you it is, right? You don't like doing, you know, mental math in your head like that, but by the end of the year you'll be fine. The scary part is very clearly this bit right here, yeah? So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna treat this all as one idea, this little bit right here. And we're gonna call this something. So we have something minus 32 equals 0. What does that mean? What does that tell you about the something? Something minus 32 is 0. So what does that mean something has to be? I do make everything up. We're doing no quizzes this year, Danny. You should be jealous. What class are you supposed to be in, D-Money? Oh, shouldn't have done a face reveal. I am a real teacher. I'm just not a real math teacher. So we have something minus 32 equals 0. What does that mean about the something? What does that mean about the something? Are you supposed to be in Vandermides? Oh, well, you need to be paying attention in Vandermides. They'll get me in trouble. Stop looking at this. I'm going to ask you a question. Something minus 32 is 0. What minus 32 is 0? What minus 32 is 0? You're done already? Oh yeah, no one's doing live streaming like I'm doing. They're all doing like optional stuff or stuff you gotta do outside of class. 32, right? So right now, if we think of this as one idea, we know that whatever this is has to equal 32, right? So check it out. I can rewrite the problem now. I can say that this thing right here, this something that we talked about earlier, whatever all this junk is, I know it has to equal what? 32. Not doing any algebra here. I'm just thinking logically. This must equal 32. Writing that down. Okay. So now let's talk about what makes this problem a little weird. Let's try to make an easier problem. Again, whenever you're stuck with a hard problem, try to make a similar problem that's easier. This is similar to this, right? But this is easier. It's got less crap. Okay. So now what are we gonna do? We need to make this easier again. So we have something squared, right? That's the next thing that I see. We have something, and I'm only going up to here. I'm not including that 2. Something squared. Again, that's our new something. Something squared is 32. Now, if I asked you, something squared is 36, would you be able to answer that? Something squared is 36. What would something be if something squared is 36? Guys, if you want to jump on Discord into the voice chat down at the bottom, go all the way down at the bottom and go to the voice channel called the general voice channel. Just click on that and you can use your mic and you can actually talk through the speakers, I think. Let me get in there now. Let me mute myself. If you want to do that instead of type, that totally works. I would do Discord on your phone. I don't think it works on the laptops, but I could be wrong. On the Chromebooks. Something squared is 32. What squared is 32? Ooh, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. Easier question. Easier question. Easier question. Something squared is 36? What squared is 36? 32 is a little weird. But what's the answer to this question? Again, hard question, easier question. I'm doing that to see kind of how math works. I'm doing like a test, you know what I mean? Hey, thank you, Macy. Awesome. All right, so 6 squared would be 36, right? Okay, so we know 6 squared is 36. Well, that's bigger than 32, right? So we know that this right here, what's ever inside here, u minus 6 must be less than 6, right? U minus 6 must be less than 6, because if it was 6, we'd get 36, right? So whatever this crap is, when you square it, it's got to be 32. So it has to be less than 6 inside here. No, it's totally cool, Macy. Thanks, Jace. I just like being obnoxious. And had to test out the soundboard. Okay, well, less than 6. Well, we know 5 squared gets us 25, right? And I have to do this.
25.
So 5 squared gets us 25. That's smaller than this. So whatever this is inside here has to be between 5 and 6, right? It's 5 point something, right? 5 point something. Okay. So it's going to be a weird number inside here. So whenever that happens, whenever we get a weird number when we're thinking about roots, right? Or the number that squares to make another number, right? What we do is we don't write that number out because, again, it's going to be a decimal. It's going to go on forever. We're going to have to round. It's no good. So what we do is this. The root of 25, right, means that if you put 25 in a square, the side will be the root, right? We put this little symbol on it. Both these sides will be length root 25. Now, luckily, we know what root 25 is. Root 25 is just 5, right? We can write that. It's nice and neat. But here, we're not going to have a nice and neat number. It's not going to simplify, right? We're going to have a number between 5 and 6. So we're not going to get a nice number. So what we want here is the root of 32, right? The root of 32 is what we're looking for, right? If we put 32 inside here, our square, that means the side lengths will be root 32, which in this case do not simplify. And I know that because 32 is between 36 and 25, right? So it must be a number between 5 and 6 for the root. Are you smelling what I'm stepping in? So inside here should be root 32. So I know that this bit, u minus 6, must equal root 32. Right? Because that's what number you need to square to get 32. Are you smelling what I'm stepping in? I want to pause there. This is the hardest part of this problem. Are you seeing my logic? Are you seeing where I'm coming from? Are you smelling what I'm stepping in? In the meantime, I'm still looking for attendance for some people. So if you're here, I need you to leave a comment. Don't be afraid. Parker, Jocelyn, Blaze. I'm also looking for Paul and Geraldine. Are you smelling what I'm stepping in? Just doing some estimation, right? If it was 6 inside here, if all this junk was just 6 squared, we'd get 36. That's too big. 5 squared is too small, so it's between 5 and 6, so we just say the root of 32. I thought he got it the other day. Are y'all smelling what I'm stepping in? Can I get a yes? Can I get a no? If you're not, that's totally fine. No? Okay. So we were good up to here, yeah? Up to here. That something minus 32 is 0, so that something, this right here, everything inside this box must be 32, right? All this should be 32. That way we get 32 minus 32 is 0. We're good up to there? Okay. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the weird part and call it something, right? Here's the weird part. Something squared is 32. Well, I know 6 squared is too big, right? Because that gets 36. And I know 5 squared is too small. So the something that's squared must be between 5 and 6. It's a weird number. Whenever we get weird numbers like that, we don't write them out because we'd have to round, right? They're weird decimals. We just call them root 32. So the weird part inside here, u minus 6, must be root 32, right? It's whatever the root of 32 is. If it was 36 here, we'd say, well, what's the root of 36? Well, the root of 36 is 6, so this would be 6, right? If it was 25 here, we'd say, well, what's the root of 25? Well, 5, so the inside part must be 5. But because it's between 5 and 6, we just say, what's the root of 32? Well, it's the root of 32. Kind of like earlier when I got this, 79 divided by 11. I didn't type that into a calculator. I was like, look, that's not going to come out nicely. So what's the answer? 79 over 11. What's 3 divided by 4? 3/4. What's 1 divided by 2? 1 over 2, right? Fractions are just division for lazy people. So newbies, right? What's 1 divided by 2? Oh, God, I hate writing it like that. 1 divided by 2 is just a half. 1 over 2. 3 divided by 4, what's that? The answer is 3/4. That's it. Fractions are just division. They're the exact same thing. And so if I know it doesn't simplify, like these don't simplify, I leave it. Here, I know that the root of 32 is what I want, right? But it doesn't simplify because only 36 and 25 simplify. So I just leave it as root 32. Is that better? Can you guys give me a percentage? Are we feeling this 100%? Are we Gucci? Give me a 420, 69 IQ in the chat if you're feeling great. If you're not feeling so great, give me a 50%, 75%. Tell me where you're at, how you feel. U minus 6 must be root 32 because when you square root 32, you get 32. Or 2069 IQ. Okay, you feeling all right? This is weird, right? This is weird. We're doing algebra without really doing algebra, and it's a mindset thing, right? It's how you're thinking about it, and it's a different way of doing it. The typical way it's taught with PEMDAS and doing it backwards and all this, you have to know it. You're at a 6? Okay. Thank you for responding. The typical way of doing this with algebra, right? They'll teach you like, follow the steps, follow the steps. But what happens if you don't remember the steps? Or what happens if you're not sure, right? You get a weird answer. Here, you're walking yourself through it by thinking, like what would make sense to do next, right? How do I make an easier problem? So I'll just go over it one more time before I move on to the next step, because this is really the heart of the problem, more or less, the hard part about it. So we're here, right? I have this thing squared equals 32. So we have a bunch of junk squared equals 32. So I'm asking what number when you square it gets 32? Well, I know 5 squared gets me 25. And I know 6 squared, the next number up, gets me 36. So 32 is somewhere between here and here, yeah? So the number we're looking for must be 5 point something. That's gross. So here's what we're going to do. Instead of writing root 25 or 5 or 6, we're going to write root 32. So all this junk right here, wrong color. This part in here, when you square it, you're supposed to get 32. So the number we're looking for is the root of 32. If we wanted to get some number squared to be 36, well, we'd need the root of 36, which is 6, right? It's a nice number. So we'd write root of 36 and then simplify it to 6. But here, it doesn't simplify. It's some number in between. So it's just root 32. All right, so now let's talk about a bunch of junk, right? We've got something minus 6 equals root 32. And some of you are jumping to algebra mode and being like, PEMDAS, I'm going to add 6 to both sides. That's fine, right? That's fine. The way I like to think about things, to make sure I really understand what's going on, is I find the thing that makes it weird, the u, right? And I call that something. So something minus 6 is root 32. And again, moving it over, the algebra gets you the right answer. That's fine. I'm not interested in the right answer. I'm interested in thinking about what this means. Some number minus 6 is root 32. Now, what do we know about root 32? It's somewhere between 5 and 6, yeah? Five point something. So a number, after you subtract 6 from it, leaves us with 5-ish. What number minus 6 leaves us with 5-ish? Estimate. Some number minus 6 leaves us with about 5. $11 and a half, 11-ish, right? Something like that. Any of those would be fine. 11-ish. So this something right here, is approximately 11-ish. Right? 11-ish. Now, we know this because root 32 is about 5, right? It's a positive number. And after you subtract 6, whatever this number is, it's still going to be positive, right? If this was 1, right, we get 1 minus 6, that'd be negative. Right? We want a positive answer. So we need a number bigger than 6. No, totally fine, Macy. Don't feel pressure if there's silence. I'm just waiting. Totally fine. I know most of you guys are on a delay, and even if you're not on a delay, you need time to think. It's not about being fast. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for trying. So we need a number that's bigger than 6 to get a positive answer, right? And then we need something that's going to leave us 5-ish, so we're going to have 11-ish. Minus 6 equals this. If you want the exact answer, u is going to equal root 32, the amount we want left over, right? The amount we want left over after we subtract 6. But this has to be 6 more than that. Let me show you. Might look a little weird, but think about it. If u equals this, right? If u is this, then when we subtract 6 from it, right? We have root 32 plus 6. And then when we subtract 6 from it, what's left over? Just root 32. You see how that's the exact answer? This is the number that when you subtract 6 from it, all that's left is root 32, right? Here's the number. It's 2 numbers technically, but we'll call it a number, okay? This one idea. And when you take this and subtract 6 from it, all that's left is root 32. So that must be what u is. New people. Afton, you've been answering questions. That's great. You're one of the new people. Macy, I had you in class last year, so you're used to me a little bit. And you've been good at giving some responses. New people. Carly, Connor. I don't know if Blaze is here yet. Joe. How do we feel about this step right here? Right here. Let me get this out of the way. Something minus 6 is root 32. Well, that's going to be root 32 plus 6. Because then when we subtract 6, all that's left is this guy. When you take this and subtract the 6 from it, all that's left is this, right? That must be what u is. I'm not doing math necessarily. I'm not doing algebra, moving stuff around and all that. I'm just thinking logically, right? A number minus 6 will get me root 32. Well, this, if you subtract 6 from it, gets you root 32. On this last little bit right here, are we feeling Gucci? Joe starting to? Okay. It is actually the exact answer, Afton, because there's no rounding involved here. This is actually the preferred answer. No joke. Because if you plug this in, that's going to go on forever. So it's going to be 6 plus 5 point blah, 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 blah. So it's going to be like 11 point something, right? 11-ish. This is exact. There's no rounding involved. Starting to get it? Okay. Joe, I appreciate your response. I want to ask you about this. Let's go back again. I'm not big into getting lots of problems done. Nice, love that. I want to take one problem and really understand it, right? You can do 100 problems for homework and barely understand each one, and after 100 problems, you've memorized the steps. You don't understand it, but you've memorized the steps. My method is to take 1, 2, maybe 3 problems and really go in deep. So when I go back over it, it's not because, oh, you guys are dumb, right? I had this teacher, Miss Fraley, who I might have told some of you about already. If you were my student last year, I definitely did. And she would call it a moron day because we would do more on, M-O-R-E-O-N, right? The last day. We would do more on what we just learned. And obviously it was a play on words. But I like doing more on the same problem because it shows different ways of looking at it. And that's what algebra is all about, is perspective. And same thing with geometry, is how to see things. That's what math is, okay? You guys ever do like one of those puzzles where you have like the image, and if you like put your nose up to it and then slowly pull back, you can see like a boat hidden in it or something? You ever done like an optical illusion like that? Or have you ever played like a Where's Waldo game or anything where you have to like be able to see it? Math is a lot like that. Once you see it, kind of like Afton just now when we were talking, right? Once you see it, it's like, oh, of course, how could it be anything else? But until you do, it's like, where's the boat? You know what I mean? I don't see it. But once you do, it's like, oh, of course, you can't not see it. Have you guys heard of the FedEx arrow? See if I can do it. So their logo is block letters. So if you look closely, in the negative space, right? Any of you guys that take art class, right? The negative space, it makes an arrow, right? Again, let me draw that a little bit better. The X, the EX on their logo is written like that. So it's like this. And there's an arrow that's pointing to the right. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let me see if I can find a photo on the Googs. There we go. There's a good. Let me switch over. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's what math is, right? Once you've seen it, it makes sense, right? Once you realize that 2 plus 2 is 4, it's like, well, of course, right? Boom, 4. That's how all math should feel once you understand it. And a lot of schooling for the last however many years for you, especially when it comes to math, has not been about really understanding stuff. So it's going to be weird, and we're going to have to go back and hit a lot of basic things so it just like totally makes sense. For the longest time, math class has been just, you know, we're going to push you through no matter what. If you don't understand it, too bad. This year, I want to really take our time and really understand what we're learning. I'm not in any rush, especially given the circumstances of the coronavirus. So I'm going to go over this again, okay? I'm going to walk you through it again. And I want you to watch. I hope none of you are taking notes. Please don't take notes. And then we'll call it a day because that's all we're going to have time for. All right, so we get this weird problem, right? Maybe it'll help if I use X. So the hard part about this problem is this bit, right? It's something minus 32. Something minus 32 is 0. Oh, okay, I guess we're out of time. Sorry, the clock's a little bit off. Go to your next class. We'll talk about this some more. What I want you to try to do tonight, if you can, up to you, before Friday, make your own math problem, kind of walk through logically like I did. We'll spend some more time on this. See you guys soon. Second hour, are you here? I suppose school clock is different than actual clock. Awesome. Second hour, let's do attendance. Oh boy. You guys been here the whole time? All right, let me mark everybody absent. Mark people present. Was not designed. Alrighty, so I see Laurel's here. And Jaden Kershaw is here. Jace is here. Mika and Katie are here. Blake and Sarah are here. Yeah, you're good, Nate. Darren is here. All right, people that I do not have yet, and if you're here, leave me a comment in chat. I'm still waiting on Campbell, Corinne, Marissa, Annie, Shion, Ethan, and Haley. Oh, Annie's here, Haley's here. Okay, awesome. Ooh, Haley, I like your picture. So if you're friends with any of the people that I just mentioned, you know, if you want to text them, make sure they're up. Campbell, Corinne, Marissa, Shion, Ethan, Trader. Oh, Shion's here. Awesome. Corinne's here. Fantastic. Now we're just missing Marissa, Ethan, Marissa and Ethan. Yeah, I think it's just Marissa and Ethan. Oh, and Campbell. Marissa, Ethan, and Campbell. For those of you that are here while we wait a little bit for them to show up, we're all good on bulb now, right? Guys in here, don't be afraid to over comment. I know sometimes when you like get on a live stream or whatever and you're watching, it's like I don't want to, you know, say yes to everything the teacher says or no, you know, respond to every question they have. Feel free to do that here. Campbell's here. Awesome. Ed. So just waiting on Ethan, and by waiting I mean we're gonna go on, but Ethan and Marissa. So if anybody knows Ethan and Marissa, if they could send them the link. If they end up showing up, I will mark them here. All right, so let's get started. So today I just want to show you another interesting problem to write about. Ethan's here, awesome. So just waiting on Marissa. Today's gonna be a little bit different. Don't get intimidated. Okay, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you a hard math problem, right? A hard algebra problem. Without doing any algebra, we're gonna solve it. I can't figure out how to make a page inside of a page in bulb. Can you please go over that again? Yeah, sure. Ooh. See that FedEx arrow? We're gonna be talking about that today. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Bulb. All right, so go to your main page, right? You can create a page or create a collection. You create a collection, it makes a folder. You create a page, it makes a page. So I created a collection, I called it Thought Problems. And if I click it, I've got this stuff. I've made some pages, right? Does that answer your question? So just hit create page, and then you'll create one. Okay, that's cool. Sometimes that happens for people. I don't know why, but thank you for letting me know. If Marissa wants to email me or whatever, that's great. She doesn't have to right now. Like, we're good, Annie. Thank you. But if it ever happens again, like email me or tell a student in class like she just did. So if any of you guys get locked out for some reason, that happens and that sucks, and I'm sorry. But just let me know. All right. Rad. Okay, yeah. I would encourage you guys to try this out this week. There's no pressure because we're not going to, again, everything's made up, the points don't matter, but we're not going to grade anything this week. I would like to meet with you at some point to talk about the portfolio individually, just to see what you've got and give you some comments, give you some feedback. I'd like to get started on that soon, but no pressure if you don't. I would definitely write down some of these problems though, because maybe, you know, like you find another answer to the 9, 16, 25, 43 problem, right? Maybe you find out an answer like a month from now and you want to write about it, right? It's good to have that in there, that we can go back to it. If you don't want it to be like part of your portfolio, like graded, just don't publish it, right? Okay, cool. Like I haven't done with this one, right? See how it has that, hasn't been published yet. If you want to, you guys can jump into Discord. I'm in a voice chat right now. So here's my Discord screen. Right? You can see, oops. You can see all different students and people that aren't even students. A lot of, all the blue are former students, I think. Or no, actually they're current students. They're current students. People that are currently here. Lots and lots and lots. So if you want to jump onto there, there's a link that I sent you in email. And you go in here, we have a bunch of different stuff going on. Like we have Game Club. Zayden and I were talking about that, trying to get that set up. We've got an algebra thread for people that are in algebra. Same thing with geometry. This one hasn't been in for a while. We were doing this at the end of the year. We also have a general high school thread if you want to talk about the high school, which obviously most people don't. And a general math discussion if you just have general math questions. We're actually going to be dealing with this today. Also a little bit of game stuff. And I'm going to need people to be mods as well to kind of moderate what's going on and assist kids. But this is kind of like a forum for you guys to be able to ask help and get a hold of me quickly. You can also email me, of course, but this is a really good way to do it. We do movie nights on here. As I said, I'm in a voice chat down here. If you go down into the bottom and click on the voice channel general, it'll put you in there. And you can chat with the stream using your voice. I'm muted right now, so you don't hear me double. But you can get in there and, you know, ask questions or do whatever you want. I see Nate just checked in over here. Yeah. Ethan was a mod from last year. Yo, yo, yo. So feel free to do that if you want. In fact, I'll post the Discord link in chat. Let's do that right now. Oh, that's what I miss Jerica. Are you friends with Jerica? Tell her to check out the live stream. The obnoxious Danny did. What a mod means? So if somebody's needs help, you can direct them to the right place on the forum. You can also, like, if somebody's like spamming or something, you can delete chat. You can set up chat rooms if people want to watch a movie. Like if you want to watch a movie with a bunch of people, you can be in charge of that. Kind of like a student leader, that's all. Last year I went crazy with it because we needed lots of volunteers. This year we're going to make it a little more selective. Okay, so let's get out of this. All right, so today I'm going to give you a weird problem. And we're going to try to find the hidden parts in it, right? My reference to the FedEx arrow, if you've never seen it before. No, you're in it. Once you see the arrow, it's impossible to not see it. It's great design, right? FedEx moving forward, shipping stuff. Math should feel like that. When you learn something in math, it should feel like, oh, of course that's it. How could it be anything else? Discord link is blocked. Oh, it might be blocked on the Chromebooks now. Damn it. Okay, if you want to join on Discord, then maybe use your phone or a separate device. That sucks. It should be available after 3 p.m. though. So if you have questions at night or something, that's a good way to post stuff. You can post images. It's super easy. We can also voice chat, right? You can just ask me questions there. Sorry, Corinne. But you can copy that. So math should feel like, of course that's what it is, right? Once you learn that 2 + 2 is 4, right? You really understand why that is. You're not just memorizing it. How could it be anything else, right? That's how all math should feel. And a lot of time that doesn't happen because we don't take the time in class to get you used to that. We do 100 problems and do them very shallowly, right? We follow the steps and just keep moving forward. We don't think about one problem. So we're gonna spend the entire class period on one problem today. It's not an incredibly hard problem, but it's hard enough where, you know, you might not know how to solve it right away. And we're gonna learn how to go about solving something that we don't know how to solve necessarily. Some of you guys are gonna be like, oh, I'm an algebra master, I memorized PEMDAS, I'm good to go. But PEMDAS actually doesn't work in all situations. It works in 99% of the situations, just not all of them. So we want you to be able to think for yourself in here, because not only is it going to help you get out of jams, right? Because memorization is great until you forget, or until you get a weird answer and you're like, maybe I made a mistake, and you have nothing to do other than to guess, right? But it's also good because it can help you learn new things better as well. So here's the weird problem. Don't freak out on me. That's a U, it's just a cursive U, okay? Here's our problem. And I think most of you guys would admit this looks pretty intimidating, right? It's weird looking. So when you are given a problem, whether in life or math or whatever, what you want to do is ask yourself, is this problem related to an easier problem? And if it is, if I can solve the easier problem, then I can do this, right? And this is related to an easier problem. This is related to a problem that we're going to call something. All of this is something. Minus 32 equals 0. Right? Bunch of junk minus 32 is 0. I bet you can solve that problem, right? Nate talked about this the other day. And again, I just want to finish it up. What does that tell us about the something? What must something be? Again, don't be afraid to over chat, guys. I know there's a delay on stuff, so I'm going to give you some time to wait. Don't be afraid of the silence. I won't be afraid of waiting for responses. But this entire class is predicated on, yeah, something has to be 22, right? Or 32. Words are hard. That something must be 32. Well, what was something? It was all this crap, right? So I know that all this crap right here, let me write that in orange. All of that crap that's inside the box that we called something, right? Yeah, it must be the same as 32, right? Because if it wasn't, we wouldn't get 0, right? 32 minus 32 gets 0, so something must be 32. This must be 32, so I just rewrote that. Cool, so now I found an easier problem. Slightly easier, right? I know all that something must be 32. Let's get even easier. Now, this one's kind of the weird one. Make sure you're watching. If you're taking notes, I swear to God. Okay? Stop wasting your time. Note-taking helps with memorization and going back to look at it. And the problem is that 1, we're not memorizing in here. And 2, you won't need to. And 2, going back and looking at it only works if you go back and look at it. And let's be honest, you're not going to. You're just not. If you really need to go back and look at it, go to the video or ask me again. I can show it to you. But I'd be surprised if you go back and look at it. People that have had me before, you kind of know this. So now we've got something squared, right? You see what I'm saying? We have something squared gets 32. So I'm going to call this something. I'm not including the 2. Equals 32. Something squared is 32. Whoops. Are you smelling what I'm stepping in? Something squared is 32. That's how you should read that. Don't say parenthesis u minus 6 close parenthesis squared is 30. No. Ain't nobody got time for that. Something squared is 32. Okay? Are you smelling what I'm stepping in? Annie, how you feel? Mika, how you feel? Nate, Corinne, Afton, Campbell, Schrader, how you feel? Schrader, you had algebra with me. You're probably feeling all right. If not, though, let me know. While I wait for you guys to respond, I'm going to respond to another student, okay? I need to look up some times. $9:27, 10:05, 10:43, I think, the other time. Hour. 21. Right. So I have a student that's not even in my class right now asking me questions on Discord. Really good way to do it. Okay, cool. Vibin'. Okay, so smelly, fantastic. Good. Vibin'. Good. Okay, awesome. If you wouldn't mind in here when I ask how you're doing, I haven't explained this yet. Good is fine. That's fine if you want to respond that way. What really helps me is the percentage. Like, how are you feeling up to there, right? So if you feel like 100%, you can put 100 in the chat. You can put 420, 69 IQ. I don't care. If you're feeling like 75%, that's good to go. Okay, all that. So you don't have to do that again. You can just keep good. But that's the idea. Okay, something squared is 32. Ain't nobody got time for u minus 6 in parentheses squared, right? If you really want to say it, you'll say quantity of u minus 6 squared. Quantity means it's inside of parentheses. Okay. So we have something squared equals 32. Well, yesterday we talked about this a little bit, right? We said that 5 squared is 25, and 6 squared gets us 36, right? 32 is in between 25 and 36. Mika, 60, okay. We're in between 25 and 36 here, right? 32 is in between those. So the thing that needs to be squared must be between 5 and 6, right? Here's our something squared here, right? So 5 squared would get 25, that's too low. 6 squared gets 36, that's too high. So it's a number between 5 and 6. Mika, are we good with calling something minus 32 as 0? That means this should equal 32, right? Something should equal 32. Are we good up to there? Are we 100% up to there? Is the confusion in the next step? Thank you for your honesty. Again, we want this to feel like, of course, to you when you get done. It's okay to only be at 60%. Most of the time, classes, if you understand something at 60%, you're getting an A. And here, we're not worried about grades, but we want you to really understand what you're talking about. We want you to feel confident, right? Yeah? Okay. So now we're here, and I'm saying, let this be the new something, right? Something squared is 32. That's how I'm reading that. And when we say squared, we mean something times itself is 32, right? Well, 5 times itself is 25. That's too low. And 6 times itself is 36. That's too high. So the something must be between 5 and 6, right? How you feeling about that? I'm just using some logic. Again, I'm not doing algebra or anything. I'm solving an algebra problem, but I'm not doing algebra. I'm just using some logic. How do we feel in chat, everybody? Can you give me a percentage? How do we feel about that last step? Right? Something, some crap, right? Squared gets 32. Well, I know it has to be bigger than 5, and I know it has to be less than 6, right? We're just thinking about this. We're not doing math, we're just thinking. That's all. Good? Okay. Again, take your time. Give me some responses, guys. I'd appreciate it. I miss on Twitch where you could do the emotes and it would just spill out onto the page. I'm working on it. 75, 100, 65? Okay. It's weird. It should feel weird. Okay? It should feel weird. This is different. We don't normally think about math. We do math, right? We're not doing math today. We're just thinking about it. 75? That's not bad. $80? 80, Katie? Right. So, truth is that everybody was super cool up to here, right? Something minus 32 is 0, so that means the something must be 32, right? That's cool, Marissa. Gian? Right. We're 100% with that, right? It was here that got weird, right? Something squared is 32. So I did some estimation. I know 5 squared is 25. That's too low. 6 squared is 36. That's too high. So our answer must be somewhere between 5 and 6. Something squared should be between 5 and 6. So that means the thing I wrote inside here, u minus 6 is between 5 and 6. Right? Preston! Hey, buddy! How's class going? Preston is an outstanding citizen. How's the farm? Both the virtual and the real. So our answer, this right here, is about 5, right? A little bit more than 5 squared will get you 32. That's the estimation. Okay? Now we're here. Again, think in terms of something. I know it seems kind of silly, but think in terms of something. We're not doing math, we're just thinking about math. Here's my something, right? Something minus 6 is about 5. What's that approximately? Terrible, pretty good. So terrible virtual, pretty good for the real one. Are you smelling what I'm stepping in, guys? We have something minus 6 is approximately 5. What would that be? Zach, are you asking me or are you talking to Preston? Right? So we know that something squared is 32. Well, that something must be about 5. So what was our something? It was this. So I rewrote it. This should be about 5. Which then means this should be about what? 11, right? Thanks, Campbell. Right? Are you smelling what I'm stepping in? Our answer is about 11. About 11. How did you feel about this step right here? So I know that all this crap should be about 5, right? So that means this should be about 11, right? What number minus 6 gets us about 5? 11, right? 11 minus 6 is 5. 10 minus 6 would be 4, right? So 11 minus 6 is about 5. Give me a status report on this. How are we feeling? We feeling Gucci? 42069 IQ? 75? How you feel? Remember, we're not doing math, we're just thinking about it. It's okay to not feel great about thinking about it yet. Third hour? 9:27. What you got third hour, Preston? 70%? Just in the last step, 70%? Okay, okay. Good song. Hundo. Someone's had me in class before. It's gonna take some time to get used to me. How would it be squared and equal 32? Okay. So let's talk about a different problem, okay? Just for a second to help answer your question, Mika. So some number squared is 36, right? We're asking what number times itself gets 36. And if you don't know, that's okay. But the answer is 6, right? And the reason is this. I prefer you not to. Don't spend your money on me. The reason is this. We're looking for some number squared is 36. So I call this something, right? Something squared is 36. Well, I know that something must be 6, right? So I take this something, and I'm going to write that. I'm going to write that something must be 6. And usually in math class, we call this the answer, right? Here, I've got something squared is 32. Now, we know that there aren't any whole numbers, nice numbers, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 that get 32. Because as we go up, 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25. That's pretty close. But then we go one number up, 6 squared, and we get 36, right? And we went too high. So we know, because 32 is between 25 and 36, that the number we're looking for to square must be between 5 and 6 as well. It's about 5, right? So the something must be about 5. What was our something? It was this, right? U minus 6 was our something. So I wrote our something is about 5. Are we cool up to there? Mika, did that help at all? It's a different way of thinking. And guys, thinking takes time, especially to change your mind about something, right? And that's what we're doing. We are changing the way you look at something, giving you another way to look at it. English with whom? It's gonna take time. Be honest where you're at, okay? If you don't see the boat, tell me you don't see the boat and I can help you find it, okay? Seeing is more than half the battle. What do you think, Mika? Did that help at all? Is that better or worse? Or about the same? I feel like I'm at the eye doctor. What do you guys think? Again, we're not doing math. We're just thinking about it. Don't worry, like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to do math this way and I don't like it this way. Don't worry about that. I just want you to think differently. I'm trying to change the way you think. You can still think the other way, but I just want you to be able to think more ways. More is always better than never. All right, watch as I logic my way through it. I'm going to do the same problem. Here we go. This problem looks hard, so I'm just going to be like, you know what? This is something minus 32 is 0. That means this something must equal 32. Okay. This is something squared is 32. Well, I know that must be about 5 something, right? 5 point something. Because if it was 6, if this were 6 squared, we'd get 36, right? And 5 squared would get us 25. So I need a number that's between 5 and 6, so 5 point something. Something seems kind of silly, but something minus 6 is 5-ish, right? That means our something, which in this case is u, is about 11. Right? Status report. Status report. Give me a percentage. while I wait on that, I'm gonna check. Oh, did chat drop out? Oh no! Is there a chat error? I think I lost all my YouTube people. Let me check. Awesome. Okay, I did lose you guys. 99%, 80%, 81%. I think I get it now. Oh, wow. You've got it now. Wow. When I got an O with multiple H's, I love when that happens. Okay, for some reason the chat wasn't working. Let me pop this out. Get better. My bad, guys. There are gonna be some bugs. Much easier when it was just all Twitch. All right. Okay. Did this help? This last one? Sorry I wasn't there while I did. I couldn't see the feedback as it was going. Do you see it now, Mr. Krabs? Awesome. Okay. That's what's happening. Yeah, and apparently the chat isn't appearing on my screen either. Kind of annoying. I can fix it. Yeah, I don't think it's pressed and crashed. Right. Wow. Okay. That's the concept. I want you to get used to the idea of when you get a hard problem, find an easier one to ask, right? Something minus 32 equals 0 is a very easy problem, right? We can do that. We can figure that out. Something squared is 32. With a little bit of brain power, we can figure that out, right? It's between 5 and 6. Something minus 6 is about 5. We can figure that out. What I want you to do is I want you to make your own problem and apply the same logic. I don't want you to do PEMDAS. I don't want you to try and solve it algebraically. I want you to logic your way through it, okay? Now, you're probably going to get some decimals, right? If you need to, use estimation. Use estimation. That's fine. I like that. Estimation is good. If you get division, don't estimate. So, like, for instance, if I ask you what's 3 divided by 4, the answer to that is 3 over 4. Division is the same thing as fractions. Fractions are just division for lazy people. What's 3 divided by 4? Well, I could type it in my calculator and get 0.75, right? Or I could just do 3 over 4. And if it doesn't simplify, you're good. What's 11 divided by 7? 11 over 7. That's it. So if you have division in the problem that you're going to make up, make sure you just treat it like a fraction, okay? I would encourage you not to do division because some of you guys will get you on fractions. You really shouldn't be afraid of them. We don't need to make it too bad. We're going to be talking about fractions and algebra and all that stuff and doing a review in the next coming days. We're going to get you comfortable with fractions. They're really not hard. I don't know why we make them hard as teachers. We make you guys do them in a really weird way, in my opinion. And it makes you guys so scared of them. Seems silly. But anyway, that's all I got for you today. Make up your own math problem kind of like this. And see if you can apply this logic. If you get stuck, you get stuck. No big deal, right? I would write about this in your portfolio, right? Maybe even talk about how it worked. Yeah, put it on bulb. Yeah, if you want. I would definitely write about this. Like, some of you guys are like, I felt at 50% here. Write about that, like right now. Go on bulb and do it, and write about that. Take some notes about how you felt while you were doing it. If you're going to take notes in this class, don't write down what I'm doing. Write down what you're thinking, what you're feeling. That way you can keep track of, I was here and now I feel like this, and what made me jump from there to there, right? That's the good stuff. That's what we want to keep track of. Are y'all smelling what I'm stepping in? Go on Bulb right now, check that out. I'm going to dismiss class early so I can shut down the stream and then boot it back up. That's what I want you guys to do. Is it homework? No. Is it due? No. Is it an assignment? No. But the more you do, the more you learn. And that's the whole point of this class. I'm going to be, ranking you on learning. What do I want you to do since it's not there? Do a Google Doc for now. Write about it in a Google Doc so you've got it, and then eventually you can copy paste. That's what I would do. Cool. Right, I'm gonna shut down the stream. No homework. No, actually, there's no homework or quizzes anytime this year. None. I got rid of them. We're barely even doing grades. We're just learning. They have to meet with me at the end of every week and show me what they've done, and we have to talk about the quality of their work. And then we treat it like a rough draft. I know, right? Rad.